I am so sorry, everyone. I know I'm late with the next two parts of Heresy Part 1's playthrough. It's coming out. I'm hoping to be on time for the release of Heresy Part 2. Speaking of, that is what we're going to be talking about / watching today. I was hoping to do a reaction to the live stream yesterday after it came out. The live stream, that is, but I had a bit of a bad day yesterday, so I decided to take a break from content creation. So I'm doing the reaction now. It's a bit late, but I haven't heard much about what's coming out with Act 2. So let's have a look at what's coming out. Yeg.
Guardians, hello. It's good to see you all again. Welcome back to beautiful Bungie HQ here in Bellevue, Washington, where we come to you from a crisp, cold morning to share a little bit of what's
Can you send the cold over to us here in Australia?
A little bit of a sneak peek to what's to come with Act 3 as well.
I love the font they're using for Heresy.
Here, and worry not, we've got, as usual, an amazing cast of guests to go ahead and walk through some of the finer details of what you're going to be seeing today. So, as always, there's no time like the present. Let's go ahead and dive on in and get them introduced so we can go ahead and show you what we got in store. Here, sitting to my left, up first, is someone who, if you joined us last time, is someone that you may have already known, rather. Sorry, I'm going to go ahead and just make sure we get right into your intro. Someone that you may already know, narrative architect here at Bungie, the one and only Mr. Nico Stevens. Nico, how's it going today, man?
Hi, Nico.
Thanks for having me, Andy. How are you doing?
I'm doing so well, thank you. I appreciate it. So for anyone that maybe didn't join us last time or isn't aware of what a narrative architect does, can you tell us just a little bit about who you are and what you do here?
Sure. So like I said, my name's Nico Stevens. I'm narrative architect at Bungie. I've been here since Season of Dawn, and basically I contribute to all of the stories that people play through, whether it's text, lore, gun names, building out the actual beats of the story. And as the architect, more recently, what I've been doing is kind of putting together the player journey, as we call it, that the player experiences as they go through the beats of like a main campaign.
Yeah, so you're tugging our heartstrings months in advance at times. Oh. Excellent. Well, thank you. It's been a lot of heartstring tugging so far this episode.
Yes.
Sitting next to him, we have a new face joining us today, a senior designer here at Bungie, Quentin Quinones-Rezin. Quentin, how's it going, man?
Hi, Quentin.
Well. Thank you for having me here on the couch.
Absolutely. Thanks for taking the time to join us. This is your first time joining us, so really quickly, second verse, same as the first. For anyone that doesn't know you or doesn't get the privilege of working with you here at Bungie, can you tell us just a little bit about who you are and what you do here?
Sure, yeah, I am an activity designer. I've been with Bungie since the Beyond Light expansion, and I've worked on, for example, the Altars of Summoning activity in Season of the Witch, and the Breach executable from episode Echoes.
Very exciting. And of course, some more stuff we'll be diving into here just very shortly. And then, of course, sitting just next to him, a man that is a friend to all Guardian kind and needs no introduction. So we're not going to give him one. Let's go into the show. I'm just kidding. Sitting next to him is, of course, the incomparable one and only Mr. Dylan Gaffner, Global Community Lead here at Bungie. Dylan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you for your 15-minute Rick Kakis intro. I'm very much looking forward to it.
I tried to edit it down, as you can tell. So for anyone that may not have worked with you or your team in the wild world of social media, or is just somehow meeting you for the first time, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do here?
Yeah, so Dylan Gaffner, DMGO4, as many know, Breadmaster, the guy that says we're
Breadmaster. Bread.
Yeah, ultimately, I'm a community lead here for Destiny, top of the team, where we run all the TWIDs, we make sure Guardians are informed, we take your feedback, pass it along to the dev team. But most importantly, we try to act as like the seat at the table for players. So if there's feedback, if there's conversation around something, or, oh, hey, excitement around activities, we make sure that voice is heard in all the meetings that we go to.
Excellent. Well, thank you, as always, for being a voice of the player here in our hallowed halls. We do appreciate it. And in addition to these fine folks, we're also going to have some other folks joining us throughout the show. It's a pretty jam-packed one, so we'll make sure to introduce them as they come along. But worry not, that's just not me summoning them into existence. We have a ton of folks here to show you what's in store. So let's go ahead and kick things off. Nico, I'd love to go ahead and start with you. Obviously, we're going to go ahead and be concluding Act 1 of episode Heresy here very briefly and leading into Act 2. Before we kick off Act 2, can you just tell us a little bit about what got us here today?
Yeah, so
my wife died.
As know, we had an echo that came from the Pale Heart, came screaming out from the death of the witness, slammed into the Dreadnought. This revivified Oryx in the form of the Echo of Navigation. We found that during the finale of our first act, and over the course of searching for it, we delved deeper into the Dreadnought, started uncovering taken powers, and we met an enemy of the Dread who has taken something from us.
Interesting. And also, in addition to our enemies, there's an ally of ours that had a very difficult start to the story. Are we going to be seeing more of Eris's story as we dive into Act 2?
Yeah, so...
Eris not dead confirmed.
Let's see. So back in Act 1, anybody who's playing through that first mission, you recognize that we had to change Eris's class designation from Lightless Hunter to Shish Kebab.
How dare you?
But in Act 2, you're going to be hearing some whispers from beyond the veil as you're going through Nether, as you're going through Court, and as you're exploring those activities and exploring the Dreadnought more, you're going to be picking up some of these messages and hopefully being able to reach beyond that and see what's on the other side. And for our eagle-eyed players who played through the first act and saw that cutscene where Eris died, they see her wake up in this ascendant world, very much resembling a throne world.
Yeah, there's been some educated
She don't take confirmed. She don't take confirmed.
Obviously, there will be a lot of lore to dive into, so Vase, if you're out there, maybe you can help us out and kind of tell us a little bit more about what's to come. Excellent. So that sets the stage, but we're also going to go ahead and dive into an activity here. We've got some gameplay ready to show on screen. Quentin, we've got a new activity that we're going to go ahead and release with Act 2. Can you tell us a little bit about what the Court of Blades is?
Sure. Yeah, Court of Blades, when we were talking about bringing back the Dreadnought, obviously we're going to pay some sort of homage to the fan favorite activity, the Court of Oryx, that occurred in this space. But we wanted to freshen it up. We wanted to explore what
covering
Destiny look like right now. And so taking that and adding to that a lot of the activities recently have been sort of longer form, maybe a little stressful. We wanted to create a shorter, quicker activity that folks can just come and slay out for 10 minutes and have fun.
Very exciting. So as we go ahead and check out the Court of Blades, there's a lot of new augments available to players too, actually. If we can really quickly look, there's some hive statues around. Can you tell us about the augments that players are going to have available to them as they go ahead and try and build their loadout for this activity?
Sure, yeah. What we wanted to do was to take some inspiration from the sort of roguelike things that we've been exploring over the last couple of years with Destiny, making sure that each run feels unique and challenging in its own way. And so what we've borrowed the concept of augmentations from Onslaught, so players will see those, and they're a little different in this case where they provide challenges that players may be able to overcome in other ways. So they're simple mechanically. A single player could go and complete the augmentation, but you might be able to just DPS the boss, pop your super, that sort of a thing, as a way to overcome that challenge. In addition, we've got sort of a randomized set of armaments that players will be able to purchase between phases that will allow them to combat those challenges a little bit.
All right, I say we unleash our fire team here as we continue to go ahead and sort of explore what this has to offer rather. But in addition to the augments, there's also going to be some hazards that our kids are going to be going up against as well. It's not all
We're on
just playing games and building.
Oh my god, that's from Taken King.
What's it going to be like building, your loadouts as you go into this? Are you going to be able to just set one up for the week and move along, or?
So the way this is going to work, the augmentations, the challenges that get applied, start to stack the more that you play the activity. And so you might get a really good combination that's very easy for you to blow through. Sometimes you're going to get a really bad combination of a certain boss or a certain augmentation that don't work well together. But we wanted players to have some opportunities to maybe shortcut those, or maybe combine a couple of the armaments that they can purchase and find a really cool combo. And so the armaments will actually rotate on a daily basis with the hope that there'll be sort of a meta that generates each day and then refreshes.
So as we had our fire team hop through that portal, Nico was like, "Ooh,
I know.
what we got? What we got?"
I had the same reaction actually. So these arenas are going to take place obviously across the system. Nico, can you tell us about the eagle-eyed folks in chat? Obviously, are kind of calling out where they believe that was. Can you go ahead and confirm to us where that arena was?
So the title of that area that you saw was Remnant of Silver, and that is on Io. It is in the cradle area where the Tree of Silver Wings was.
Yeah.
And as players know, we have seen Mars come back, we've seen Titan come back, we've heard of Mercury, even though we haven't gone back and revisited it yet. Io is really the only one that we haven't really talked about at all. And that's because Io is still trapped between worlds, and right now it is in the Ascendant plane, fully enveloped by it. And Oryx, through the Echo of or as the Echo of Navigation, I should say, is kind of reaching out to these places of paracausal power, reaching out to Io for this place of darkness, Hive worship, as you see here. The Hive have like massive connections to the darkness, obviously. And then one of the arenas that you haven't seen yet is on Europa, which is the first place that we encountered stasis through clarity control, and it is a huge font of dark energy.
Yeah, I can see why they would want to, why Oryx would connect with those places certainly, but no, it's really exciting to get to go back to Io. I think obviously Chad had the same reaction that I had when it was like it showed on screen for the first time.
I've been there.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah.
So when we're going through these arenas, like you were talking about the challenges and the difficulty, with the Court of Blades, are we going to see similar mechanics to Nether, like the health scaling or things like that, or how's it different?
We will not be seeing the health scaling and health mechanics from the Nether, so that's a bit of a load off people's minds. This is intended to be a bit more of a less stressful, more fun activity, but the difficulty does escalate after every 2 challenges.
I would love to see this activity with
so
the
what we
Nether,
want to
like,
do,
stuff on it.
We've created these sort of light mechanics. You know, what you're not going to see is true raid level experience. This is not a replacement for Pantheon, that sort of a thing. We want it to be match made. We want it to be go in and have fun. The mechanics that you can buy as armaments sometimes will provide antidotes or shortcuts to the mechanics that you're seeing as augmentations. Some of them you may recognize from the Nether. Some of them are going to be brand new, and a few of them are actually going to be things that we've taken from some favorite old exotics, such as
Taken, as we see on the screen.
Sure.
Sorry.
How dare you?
Such as we've taken the effect from Sunbracers off, and that is a thing that you can actually purchase within this this activity using the currency, and maybe combine that with something that increases ability regeneration, or maybe you see a couple of arc flavored armaments, and you decide on this run I'm going to use those.
Yeah.
So it's about mixing and matching and finding what works on a particular
a lot of chances to really exemplify your build. So also there's, in addition to kind of the standard run through that we're seeing right here, is there a higher difficulty mode available as well?
Sure, yeah. For people who like a little bit more of a challenge, we're going to have an expert version of the activity. Both will actually be a really good place to find the Act 2 weapons that will drop more often in both versions of the activity. But the adept versions will only drop in the expert mode.
Got it. Okay, so good reason to go ahead and make sure you got your build all tightened up. You're focusing on those augmentations and just.
I'm gonna get carried.
And, really go ahead and try and slay out. I think honestly, I'm just gonna steal.
My friends are gonna go. Oh, here we go again. Oh, this is the.
Nico, we're going up against. You were mentioning at the end of Act 1, Zivu and Savathun were none too happy with Oryx's answer and demeanor towards us. Who are we going up against as we go ahead and fly through this activity?
Yeah, so a little bit of a refresher. The finale, we walked in, we saw the Echo of Navigation, and this is where Oryx learns that we killed him in the Taken King.
Yeah.
And his response is, "You killed me? Very cool."
Yeah.
I was super into that.
That was refreshing. I was like, finally, one less hive god to be mad at me,
Yes,
right?
exactly. So what Oryx is kind of doing here is he wants you to be his guy. You know, he wants you to take up that mantle of Taken King, and he's testing you. This is him testing his knife, right? Making sure it's as sharp as it's supposed to be. And while he is doing that to prove that you are the Taken King, Zivu is here saying, no, I want my brother back.
Yeah.
Let me give you another champion. She's presenting her own hive champions, trying to say, let this be a vessel for you.
Yeah.
Much like we saw in Heresy, it's a similar idea to that. And then Savathun, on the other end of the spectrum there, is saying, this is stupid. We should all just move on from this chain to the sword logic that we have. Stop being shackled to these old ideas. We can all be free.
That sounds kind of heretical.
It does sound a little heretical, a little bit. Yes.
Well, I mean, that's the name of the season, Heresy.
Kind of whispering in my ear through Nether and through the activities of Back 1. I'm assuming we'll see more. Of course, we've hidden the VO, we've hidden the subtitles and stuff to avoid spoilers. But I wanted to give a shout out to the voice actor.
So the voice actor for Oryx is Joshua David King. They did a fantastic job every single time we were in the recording booth. All the narrative designers, our voice director, everybody was just losing their mind over the performance. It was fantastic.
Aww.
And I mean, you get to see it in the game. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's always wonderful seeing like Morla coming in, bringing Eris to life, and then in this case, Oryx is alive, and this is the first time that we're having kind of a relationship with the Taken King.
Yeah, and it was a big deal for us because we wanted to make sure that we did that character justice. And they didn't really have Oryx as a character didn't really have a suite of voice acting before, so we wanted to make sure that it felt true to what Oryx was back in the Taken King as well as now with the Echo Navigation.
Evolving from just grunts of like, yo, sword logic, you killed me, you're cool.
I'm more verbose now.
Yeah.
Oryx has been really reading the thesaurus recently and making sure that he's got his vocabulary all up to snuff. Actually, as well, really quickly, Quentin, I'd love to go ahead and check with you as well. There's new. I think we were talking about the shaping slab earlier as well before the show. What sort of additional enhancements are available there?
Sure. Yeah. As people will have seen in Act 1, there's a set of upgrades that they can purchase.
Return. I'm sorry, guys. I am going to be munching on my dinner as well, because it is currently dinner time, and I have a stream coming up real soon. So I'm watching this, and then I'm going straight into streaming. So I'm gonna be eating my din-dins. Hopefully it won't be too loud for y'all. But I will be having a visitor come join me for this recording as well, at some stage. So let's get back to it.
And slot in based on how far they have ranked the
And for
vendor,
those who are curious, I'm having fish bites and veggies for dinner.
Providing a free revive token, things like that. Court is going to get its a whole new set specifically for it, as well as some permanent upgrades to help players deal with the heavy and increasing challenge as they get deeper and deeper and try and up that score of how many challengers they can take down in a single run.
Chances for our creators to make some guys. Maybe Avantis can help us out this time around. We probably got something in store there. But we now actually would like to take a moment to introduce another new face to our couch for the very first time to help kind of talk us through some of the weapons that are going to be available to you as we go ahead and kick off Act 2 of Heresy. We are now joined by the one and only associate designer here at, probably the one and only Morgan Dickens, associate designer here at Bungie. Morgan, how's it going today?
Hi, Morgan.
It's going well, thank you.
Absolutely. So for anyone that doesn't get the chance to work with you at Bungie or is unfamiliar with your work, can you tell us just a little bit about who you are and what you do here?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Morgan. I'm a weapons designer here at Bungie. I work on the origin traits and perks and just the general gameplay for the weapons. I did the Act 3 weapons and the Telesto update, if that tells you anything about me.
So obviously we have Morgan
so she breaks the game?
Thank, depending on what side of Telesto you're on for the new catalyst.
There were some whispers of Telesto's broken on me when I was like, what do you mean broken? And then it's, oh, you mean like good broken.
You're right, yeah.
So good job. Community loves it. Thanks, chat, for shouting out.
Yeah, as we all collectively wiped our brow and we're like, okay, cool.
So it's broken in a
Morgan hands us another win. So speaking of, we're gonna have some new weapons. The folks in chat have obviously seen let's tell you about, let's go ahead and start with what's here on screen. The glaive that we're looking at right now. We're gonna have some new weapons joining, but can you tell us a little bit about the glaive we're looking at right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So this glaive is Refusal of the Call. It is our second kinetic slot glaive that we have ever done, and our first strand glaive.
Ooh.
So this one, as someone who's been humbled by glaives more often than I care to admit in the Crucible recently, what are some roles we should be looking forward to with this one?
Ooh.
Yeah, so as displayed on screen, Sword Logic Discord is a very fun role with good ammo efficiency and really high damage potential. And if you're looking for a fun Crucible role, tilting at windmills and melee momentum is really fun.
Okay, that's one.
Windmills?
That's a good name for a perk. Tilting at windmills in Crucible.
Yeah.
Tilting your opponents.
Why do you stare right at me when you
Oh
say
my
that?
gosh.
But I do want to make another call out. So in Act 1, we were talking about, when you're going to the Dreadnought, it's peeling back, the skin is coming off. When we were just looking at this glaive, they all follow that same theme. So right now, you have a big sword on a big stick that's covered in teeth. Like, I cannot, this is my number one thing when Act 2 goes live to go and grind for.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. And
Grind
I
for
couldn't help but
teeth?
notice, obviously, there's a very, very scary looking new Void bow as well that our Guardian here has been using. Can you tell us a little bit about this bad boy?
Absolutely. So Anamnesis is a void lightweight frame bow.
It's
This one's
another
really cool
block
because
bow.
the origin trait grants charge speed. So dealing damage to enemies and getting final blows will slowly just lower that charge time. If you're a bow lover and you have always wanted to take something other than Archer's Tempo in the left column, now's your chance.
Yeah.
Ooh, I think
my
it's
vault is
Sammy.
littered with Archer's Tempo in that first column. So no, I'm really looking forward to that one. What are some roles? I think we've got some repulsor.
Hang on, let's bring in our guest. That was my joint sound, I'm sorry. Hello!
Hi.
I forgot about my join sound. But guys, if you don't know who this is Seb. I'm sure you know from all of my other recordings. But yes. Hang on, let me share my screen to you so that you can see what I'm seeing and reacting to Yeg.
I saw some of it live, but it looks cool.
I was just talking about how the bow looks like a block. It's the block 2.0.
Yeah, you can pair Repulsor Brace with either
2.0,
stabilizing rounds
The
or
block from
demoralize.
Arrivals, is that it?
Advantage of that origin trait reducing charge
Slab,
time. You can
I
throw a
think so.
successful warlock
That one.
impulse amplifier on it and have one of the fastest firing bows in the game.
Yeah, honestly,
Quite
even
funny
having
how
just
they
gotten that roll
brought
on Exalted Truth
that
like
back.
the other weekend on Trials,
Only
like,
to
I
bring it
cannot
back
wait to
again.
Go ahead and pick it up first
Same
with this bow.
thing.
The timing is impeccable too. Like last week on
now there's two
I think
blocks.
Reddit, there was a post about legendary bows. I don't use them very often, etc. But folks were going into the Nightfall with Monarch. And I'm like, here's a new Void bow that goes with the artifact that has all these cool perks. Maybe you'll have a new thing to use in Nightfalls when the sidearm comes around next week. Chat, yes, the sidearm is next week. Don't worry. But yeah.
Is it a rocket sidearm?
So in addition to those,
Yes.
obviously Dylan mentioned there's a
rocket
sidearm.
sidearm.
What is the other
Ayo!
that we haven't covered yet?
So there's a sidearm, a submachine gun, and a fusion rifle.
Ooh, submachine
The
gun.
sidearm is one of our first heavy burst sidearms in a bit, and it's got bolt shot on it, which, given how quick sidearms reload, is pretty fun.
Yeah.
And you can also get sword logic on it as well. It's always a fun option.
Yeah, seriously, I
When
can't
you
wait.
say heavy burst sidearm, is that a 2-shot?
2-shot.
Got it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's going to be powerful. Again, I can already hear it ringing out, I'm sure, in my Trials matches.
Definitely been a
But
while.
we also have, there's a new fusion rifle. Oh, here, actually, we got the sidearm up on screen. Let's hang out here for a
Ooh,
second
that
and
looks
just take a look.
clean.
That art style is just so good. I can't get over it.
Yeah, the design is really cool, and the glow actually gets a little bit brighter as you stack up the origin trait, which is fun.
Oh, that's
Ooh.
Super cool, actually. In addition to that, I know we were talking a little bit before the show as well. There's a new fusion rifle in store that sounds pretty terrifying if you're going up against us. Can you tell us a little bit about what's in front of us right now?
Yeah, so Afterlight is another weapon that really benefits from that charge rate boost. And it's got a couple of fun options for DPS with that. If you're willing to put in a lot of work, Ambitious Assassin Reservoir Burst with that origin trait will stack up in a couple shots and will do really, really high DPS until you lose Reservoir Burst.
Of course, yeah.
And if you're looking for something simpler, you can always do Lead from Gold and Vorpal Weapon.
True. Yeah.
This version of the weapon is one of the heretical.
I can't wait to
arsenal
ask you what I'm meant to
so if you're
use.
going into the expert difficulty of court.
Because I have no clue. I can't wrap my head
The 2
around
perks
it.
in each column, then it has the extra
okay, the
origin
rolls
trait
will be
from
there.
Kingsfall.
So now we get to
Narratively
look at the
tied
pretty
and
weapons.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sandbox team, for the cool stuff. Thank you,
always.
Sandbox team, for the cool stuff.
Yeah.
But then also on top of that, you have your Tome of Want. So if you're just
Don't worry,
looking for
I'll
rolls,
have
trying
the
to get
list
more
of
the
rolls.
sidearm, the fusion.
Let's go.
These will be additions. You go and you
Writing
get
them up
your
now
slabs from
as we
chest,
speak.
Hell yeah.
activity, and then you can use it in the court to get more drops, or you can actually go into Nether or go into Crucible or whatever and have a couple of those extra drops come in too.
Very exciting, yeah. And it's like, I don't know, I was getting like mini Plan C vibes from that one. Like, I'm super excited to see how I can work that one in. So the sandbox is always obviously rather going to be enriched by some new legendary weapons, but our good friend the Barrow Dyad is going to have some new additions to their perks as well this time around. For anyone out there like myself who's gone ahead and added that to their loadouts recently, what are some of the updates we can expect there?
Yeah, so Barrow Dyad is getting 2 new Catalyst perks in Act 2, with 2 more coming later. And some of the fun options there are 1 for all and target lock. Not many exotics have like damage perks on their catalyst, but this one you can really alter your play style.
Rotators.
Almost made for that one. It's going to be super exciting to take that one out for a spin.
The dominance.
I'm going to be excited to see what Maven comes up with
Scary.
as a build video.
Yeah, absolutely. Big shout out, Maven.
I was gonna make a Gen Z joke using Gen Z words, but I forgot the words.
Catalysts go live on Tuesday next week on the 11th.
The aura.
2 more coming.
Oh.
3.
Cool. Okay. So still more to unlock, but
Out
obviously
there,
Barrow
aura
Dyad's potential
farming.
is starting to really continue to build up.
And if you haven't gotten it, that exotic quest, shout out to our activity designers. Like, I was blown away. And if you have some problems with like kind of insects and holes and stuff, it's a little creepy. So be prepared.
True.
And actually, okay, we're taking a look at Barrow Dyad here really
just little
quickly.
guys.
This is one where if
We're
the Guardians
just
out there haven't had a
scurrying.
chance to get their hands on it, as Dylan mentioned, the exotic quest is live right now, but coming next week, we've got 2 more catalysts that'll be hitting. So looking forward to expand that. And actually, while we're here in menu, we'd be remiss if we didn't take a look at our friendly neighborhood artifact as well. As has been the case with the Act, our artifacts have continued with another, or expanded, pardon me, with another row. Can you tell us a little bit about what we got? We only have 5, so I vote we go ahead and just dive in and check them all out.
Yeah, absolutely. So the primary theme for this one is trace rifles with a secondary theme of like element matching. So in the left
long have
column,
they
you
done
have
this?
Overload trace rifles.
Is this
as
new?
A new anti-champ option. And then we
Okay,
have
so
a
this has
new
been
trace
in
rifle
place
perk,
since
Beam Medic,
Echoes.
where rapid trace rifle final blows heal both you and nearby allies. This is a fun thing to pair with the new detonator beam perk, which will help you get those multi-kills.
Yeah, yeah, very looking forward to it. I'm just continuing, like I'm already imagining how I'm going to get microcosm back into my honestly already. Like,
Well, I have good news for you. Skipping ahead to the 4th column perk, Harsh Refraction. Trace rifles do more damage to targets with debuffs that match.
I played the game, I promise.
And this is always on for my
I was going to say, all right, so Kinetic is going to be a very happy camper in that case.
Destiny 2
Oh, I can't wait. Any others that we want to look at before we go along? I know we have a little bit of extra time here.
Yeah, absolutely. So for Microcosm, if you want to just really double down on that, Limit Break is the 5th column perk. And it will give
Limit
you
Break?
super damage when you are
Final Fantasy reference.
Oh my god,
that matches
Collab confirmed.
super type.
Oh my god.
And
They
actually,
said
while
the
we're here,
thing.
we may as well just take a look. What awaits us in the 3rd column as well?
So the 3rd column is a new artifact perk that will help you get more access to elemental pickups like tangles or fire sprites. Rapid final blows with a kinetic weapon or a weapon that matches your equipped super will, grant you one of those.
Perfect.
And it can be boosted by the Tome of One.
Very exciting. All right, so our trace rifles are really going to go ahead and get a lot of additional mileage here, it looks like, honestly.
I got to give a shout out to our icon artists too. So like Prometheus lens is my favorite trace. Like laser tag weekend, some people just immediately melt and they're like, oh god. But that was a really
Not
fun
laser
time.
You were
tag
not one of
weekend.
those.
Not
So
again.
excited.
please.
Not again.
At the time, reached out and asked, "Can we put Prometheus lens on Xur?" And I was like, "Why would you do that?" Yes. But yeah, with these perks, I'm gonna go out and burn down the world with Prometheus lens. Like Microcosm will pull out for the boss DPS, but just for like running through court, running through Nether, I'm gonna be like,
Definitely
let's burn some
think
stuff.
That's all right, I'll have your back. I'll have
Harsh
Microcosm, you take
Refraction
Prometheus lens. It's going to
is
be
the
a terrible
best
day to be hyper taken.
out of
for
the
sure.
Hit me
four.
up
Yeah,
on
out of the
Discord, and then
5.
I'll ignore you for another week. No,
As
just-
always, I don't. Well, that's right,
Doing
that
more
hurts
damage.
stuff, Okay,
Very good.
It's right in front of all of our guardians. Okay, so while we're also checking out the artifact, we've got, we teased at the top of the show. We're gonna do some Act 3 teases as well. Can you give us a tease a little, or what the theme rather is of what that last row is gonna be?
Yeah, so the primary theme is rockets. We have a new perk that will help you clear rockets without needing to reload or spend ammo. And then there's a
ammo?
secondary theme
Hang
of
on.
Strand with
Huh?
a way to access Woven Mail.
Okay, very
What do
exciting.
you mean?
I cannot wait to go ahead and just dust off my rocket launchers too. Honestly, I still have my Apex Predator sitting around, and that one's been waiting for a time to shine. So I think this is that moment.
Yeah. And outside of the artifact, there are going to be new things to play, right?
Predator.
Yeah, we're going to have refreshes to the Nether and Court in terms of new bosses, new combatants, if you're familiar with the pressure events from Act 1, the blights that you have to destroy, there's new and devious versions of those that are coming to Nether.
That's cool.
And then in Act 3, our featured activity is going to be the return of the Sunless Cell Strike.
Yes. Any Guardians who remember their fond Destiny 1 days of having that like huge batch of thralls running at you up the bridge?
Who's going to be in there?
Now's the
Wait.
chance to check that out. But actually, you know, we were talking before the show. It's probably not going to be Alakul.
Yeah, Nico was mentioning. So Alakul was down in the deep, dark dungeon hole, and then became a light hive, the Guardian hive. What do we
Light
call
bears?
it? Yeah, well, it was
He's
light
the
bear, and then it was like
the Lucent hive.
Alatool is what you called it, and I cringed.
Cool.
Yeah,
It's creativity's a process everywhere.
So with the light blade ascending, being in the throne world, doing their own thing, who is in the Sunless Cell now? And that's something we'll find out in Act 3 in April.
Yeah, very exciting. We'll have a chance to check that out. And actually, Dylan, while I've got you, I'd love to put you on the spot. In addition to obviously all this stuff that'll be arriving with Act 2, Guardian Games is going to be making its triumphant return as well.
Oh yeah. So let me get my handy dandy notebook here. Replaced the big one with the little tiny one. It looks like I take notes now.
He's like he's a reporter out on the beat.
Yeah. So Guardian Games starts next week, March 11th. Ride Reset alongside Act 2. For folks that don't know what Guardian Games is, we
Hunters will win.
Hunters, Titans, and Warlocks to come in battle.
Yes.
Look at the Titans armor. That's badass. Like look
So
at
with the Hunter. Hunters have symmetrical arms. That's a win. Win right there.
Look at the Titan. That's so cool.
You put it best. Bite-sized.
Chat.
Gladiator.
So it's
YouTube comments. Who's gonna win? You tell me.
But now we have a challenge of hey,
We
go
just
in,
don't need to do
burn
that.
down
We can.
some-
I can
some
already
bosses,
tell
get as many
you.
points as
No.
you can, and then you can
I'm
get
gonna mute him.
rewards. So when it comes
Oh
to
my
rewards,
God.
I'm gonna mute him.
What am I even here for? Like,
be
it's
everywhere.
Titans.
You can earn it for free through Bright Dust. So go in and
Oh,
do
earning
your
with Bright
secret
Dust?
challenges, do your Pathfinders. There are going to be some weekly bounties that get Bright Dust. And you can see that
Say
we're
no
going with
more.
more of a gladiator theme, where previous it was like, let's go into sports, let's go into these things. Now it's like, hey, gladiators, you're going to go in.
I
you're
like
gonna
that.
destroy
I
these
hated the
bosses,
sport
it's gonna be a
theme.
really good time.
Why do I have to be reminded of physical activity when I'm playing video games? Like, come on, man.
I'm here to get away from that, please.
That's right.
So,
Let me go. Let me be free.
holding our new premier legendary weapon that's going to be coming out.
Right.
And now I pass it off to Morgan because there's some really cool perk rolls that you can get on there.
Yeah, absolutely. So we had the Arc Trace Rifle in Iron Banner, which has more of a PvP focus. This one has more of a PvE focus to go along with the, boss slaying theme.
Yep.
It's got some fun perks in the left column, including Overflow and Triple Tap and Eddy Current, if you just want to double down on the Arc perks. And it's got our new Detonator Beam and Jolting Feedback.
I just
alongside,
realized on the
Rolling Storm.
Hunter arms are snakes. I like that.
Does it have a jolt shot too?
Well, you
I
see
think
on the
it's still
Titan's
fine.
helmet and like
But just,
chest,
like,
there's
you
like
can go in and
lions.
do
I've just got my
almost every
hand
single
blocking
artwork
the
with this thing,
Titan
depending on
side of the screen. I'm just looking at the beautiful blue, you know?
You're blocking the wrong part of the screen. You got to block out the Hunter and the Warlock.
Nah. I'm just gonna move myself over here. There we go. Let's just admire this side of the screen.
Oh my god.
It is a new Rolling Storm perk, which
Look,
is
you could maybe silence
obviously
them
really
now,
fun and
but
adds
Titans,
so quickly.
they're
And
just
I personally like playing
goated.
that with Demolitionists, so you have
So
a
I don't let Guardian
easier
Games
access to
sign
something that
it.
lets you destroy
I'm just
full charge
saying,
as
I'm
well.
warning you.
And then it's got
Titans.
Envious and Cascade Point as well, which is a fun roll from last year.
Very nice. Yeah, my dad's a big Hullabaloo fan. He's got one with chain reaction that is devious against all that's saying against us, so I cannot wait to see this one in the wild.
We also have Taraxipos, the Strand Scout Rifle returning. It's getting the new perks Lone Wolf and Tear. Lone Wolf explosive rounds is devious in the Crucible.
I was just having so much fun too. How could you do this to me? No, I'm gonna get one of my own. Who am I kidding? Yeah.
And of course, we have the title coming back, and it will still have Repulsor Brace destabilizing rounds, but it's also getting Recycled Energy and Demoralize, Enter the Pain.
Demoralize is like my favorite perk name from this episode because it's legitimately like, oh, you're all weakened now, baby. Let's go to work. But title is going to be great. I've been trying to get that for the last couple of years with a good perk roll, and now there's a bunch of really cool stuff to get on it.
Yeah.
So
So there's obviously a decent amount of stuff to go ahead and be chasing down in game between the new armor, the new trace rifle, and obviously the refreshed rolls. But Dylan, as well, I'd love to put you on the spot. There's going to be stuff out of game available to Guardians as well.
Yeah.
So
Bungie store with
every year we have
crazy
a Bungie
shipping
rewards
to
component.
Australia.
So big shout out to Natalie, our rewards team. But we have a really cool
Price is
jersey
more than
that we're
the
gonna be
thing that it
offering
is?
this year. So go in, do
Yeah!
your triumphs, earn your title, and then you can earn this really sweet
A sports jersey.
There's be a couple other things that you can go in and get as well, but this is, I think you and I were talking about, hey, you go to a Sounders game and now you can have a fellow Titan or a Hunter show up.
I'm sorry if any of my viewers do
So,
like their sport jersey
Warlock's
stuff.
pretty
I hate
nerdy,
sports.
right?
I was never a sporty
You're
kid.
at a Sounders game instead of reading a book.
Yeah, right.
That's my
We
thing.
also have a sample
just
here in the studio.
don't
This is
know
a
about
large
that
for
shit,
folks that want to see it.
Huge
Really
again,
cool.
shout out to
Doesn't
Natalie
look
getting one of these early, huge wins. So huge thanks to our
2025 Guardian
I
Games.
mean, it's one of the
really good
better
on
looking
back,
ones
so
I've seen.
Thank you for my fashion corner.
Not something I wear though.
You know what? You've got more on the way, but we can also tease
in
that
my
later.
opinion,
but no, really
I
cool to get to
wouldn't.
see one of those in
I
person
just
as well.
wouldn't.
All right, so now
Just wouldn't.
we've
That's it.
obviously had a chance to dive in. Pardon me, with a little bit of what is to arrive in Act 2. We've got some Act 3 teases for you as well, and so we'd like to take an opportunity here to welcome 2 new folks to the couch that we have magically brought in. We'll go ahead and start with the
Trans
individual to
monk?
my left, who you may have met by way of some of our Bungie Vidocs in the past, or if you work here, she's
Hey,
brandishing a small bottle.
How did they switch so quickly?
Yes, actually, teeth at you during our team meetings. I'd like to introduce
Excuse
one
me,
and
she
only
has
Nick
teeth in a
Kinney,
bottle?
a producer here
What?
at Bungie. Nick, how's it going?
Hey, Andy, it's going. You owe me. No, happy to be here. Super surprised that you asked me to be live.
No, of course. Glad you could join us. For anyone that may not have met you by way of our Vidocs and is just meeting you for the first time, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what it is you do here?
Yeah, I'm a producer here at Bungie, and I've produced a number of teams from activity design, free roam lost sectors, strikes, to world art, palette lighting, skies, VFX, and most recently our sandbox weapons team with Morgan, who was just here, and my production darling, Rite.
That's right. We will. That is a Charlie Brown-ish line for now because we're going to introduce that in just a moment, I promise. But of course, we're going to go ahead and make sure.
I'm so
right
confused.
next to her, Rodney Thompson, a senior design lead here at Bungie. Rodney, how's it going?
Doing great. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you so much. That's so nice. Anyone who may not have had a chance to meet you or doesn't get a chance to work with you here at Bungie, can you tell us just a little bit about who you are and what you do here?
Sure. I've been at Bungie for about 10 years. I'm a designer, and I'm the sandbox craft lead. And additionally, I've been the team lead for the Charlie Brown redacted team that Nick's just mentioned.
Very exciting. We've got some cool stuff to check out. Now, actually, Dylan, you and I were talking a little bit about this. There's going to be a new event arriving with Act 3.
Yeah,
Oh.
this event
New event.
is free to all players.
Oh,
It's going to offer something for lower skill for folks that maybe want to start getting into some endgame content, and then it's also going to offer some things of higher difficulty. I don't want to steal too much thunder.
Oh, no,
but
of course.
Yeah,
I mean,
let's tee it up.
Yeah, that allows us a chance to introduce it. Rodney, would you like to do the honors of introducing
The Rite of the Nine. Yes.
Rite of the Nine?
Rite of the Nine,
is our new event that we've been working on. Really excited about this. It is a
Oh, that
limited
looks
time
cool.
event that features our dungeons. 3 of our
Oh.
dungeons that are part of this event. That's going to be Prophecy, of course, because of the 9 associations, but also Spire of the Watcher and Ghosts of the Deep. So these 3
Where
dungeons,
is my
we've seen a
pit,
lot of
man?
Reaction,
Where is
positive
my
reaction to
pit?
the contest modes for our new dungeons as they've come out. And we were thinking, what would it be like if we were able to go back to our older dungeons and experience that kind of level of challenge and see how things play out?
These
in
are their
these
older
older
dungeons,
dungeons
Shez.
with some
These
tweaks
are the
and
oldest
some
dungeons in the game.
additional modifiers and things like that to really like bring the challenge up. To kind of
no! I'm literally wearing the armor that comes from Pit. Where is
really push the
Pit?
screws to our players. And
It was
see
just
what
so
they can do
recently
in the
released.
hard,
They
modes
couldn't
of
have
the
done.
dungeons.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, we were like, well, a lot of these dungeons, there's a lot of players out there that haven't gotten to experience them because they can be pretty intimidating. They are, mechanically a little more intense. They don't do a lot of hand-holding in the activity. And, they often require, or at least, incentivize you to play with other players, right? So we were thinking, like, what if we could take this event as an opportunity to introduce these classic dungeons to a whole new audience by way of what we're calling Explorer mode. And so basically we've got new stuff at the top end in Ultimatum mode. We've got new stuff for players, or new opportunity for players to learn the dungeons in Explorer mode. And then we have Eternity mode, which is sort of aimed at our middle-of-the-road experienced dungeoneers. So we've kind of got something for everybody.
Excellent, awesome. Well, we've got stuff to actually show live out here. Tell you what, why don't you guys tell us just a little bit about where we're at right now?
Sure.
It's
so
the
this
old
is the social
Lighthouse!
space for the event. Eagle-eyed veterans might notice that this is the third Spire social space. It was originally used for the Trials of the Nine PvP event. But it's been a while. It's been since year one since you could go to this space. So we're bringing it back for
is that the Spire?
The Rite of the Nine event. You can see off in the distance there as our brave/reckless guardian runs off into the horizon. You can see, there we go. You can see the Spire of the Watcher tower off in the distance. That's indicating that during the week that we have this set for, Spire is the featured dungeon. So there's going to be
so it's like rotated.
featured, during each week of the event on a sort of rolling basis.
Okay, So here we're obviously obviously this is a familiar face as well. What are some of the things we're going to be able to get up to here? Obviously, thank you, Gemini. We appreciate the introduction.
So
Emissary!
is our vendor, and the Emissary offers you quests, bounties, rewards, a wide variety of things to do during the event. Like I say, it's all dungeon focused, but we're going to be leading you into those dungeons and giving you rewards for beating them on the various difficulty levels.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, I believe I see some weaponry here in the background.
Yes.
What are we looking at here?
So for this event, we have taken 4 of the weapons from each of the featured dungeons and given them a big revamp. We've redone their perk pools, introduced perks that have come in over the season since the dungeon was released, and put those into these weapons and really given them a good juicing up as far as like the perks that are available. And what you're sort of seeing here is the ability to attune to these various weapons, just like you could during Into the Light with the light weapons, so that if there's a particular one of these that you really are hunting a certain role.
Very exciting. Okay. We're some fans, obviously, in the house here. So we've got, as you were mentioning, Ultimatum mode, we can go ahead and talk a little bit about later. But as you noticed, Spire the Watchers here, Nix, can you tell us a little bit about Explore mode and how you guys kind of built that and what that process was like?
Yeah, playtesting for Explorer mode was truly so cute because it required us to find people in studio who had never played dungeons before. And that means we sourced folks from all corners, all levels, and made them equal in the name of a dungeon. So it was really great to see them go through our dungeons and having us tune it so that by the end of our playtest series, I think they just grew into folks who were really quite adept at dungeons, and I want to say can go on to even solo them if they wanted to.
I mean, it's a great starting point. I think we were talking a little bit before the show, but Explore mode obviously grants the opportunity, one, to just
you'll
learn,
be able to
just
solo
go ahead and
them
keep the proverbial tires in the dungeon.
I don't
figure out
have
how
the
our system works,
patience.
which you can see here in just a second. But for folks like myself who do really enjoy running dungeons,
Bring back the
not only
crafting and I
solo
will.
one dungeon, but if I wanted to go ahead and really get all of my strats ready for a solo,
I don't have the patience to do like 10 waves of boss damage.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, they're in the Explorer mode, you have
Just do Explorer
some tool
mode.
tips, so
It's
that'll give you some
right
idea
there.
of how to navigate these puzzles and also some waypointing to help you get through some tricky areas that you may not be able to find on your own.
There's a lot of minutia to always find in these, and it may not always be obvious which way to go. And so you guys, like we were talking about before the show, you actually built some new tech to help kind of establish those breadcrumb trails for the Guardians. All right, we're about to dive on in actually here as well, but very briefly as well as we go ahead and prepare to land, a brief touch on Ultimatum mode as well. What are some of the key differences between those two experiences?
Sure. So while Explorer mode, of course, is aimed at people who have maybe not as familiar with the dungeons or never really given them a shot, Ultimatum mode is for players who are familiar with the dungeons and are used to a high level of play. So they're going to be our most challenging. They're going to be at sort of a power level equivalent of contest mode. So you're going to be facing tougher enemies. And then we're also using some activity modifiers to sort of craft the experience and make it a little more challenging, but also just give you a little bit require you to make a few decisions before you go into the dungeon or before you go into an encounter that you wouldn't otherwise necessarily be thinking.
No,
So for example,
Gemini!
we're using the not swap activity modifier, which basically means you need to keep one exotic equipped for the duration of an encounter. That's just sort of a way of saying, like, okay, we need you to really focus on thinking about this encounter and figuring out how you're going to tackle the challenges associated with it. And then both Eternity mode and Ultimatum mode are scored on a per encounter basis. So the higher your score in that encounter, the better the loot drop is going to be. You'll get double perks in different columns and things like that. Awesome. That's all based on deaths. So instead of being based on kills or number of damage phases or things like that, it's basically getting through the encounter with fewer deaths gets you a higher score.
Yeah, be as alive as possible.
Exactly, right. So what we're really challenging you to do here is we're challenging you to go into this harder mode and not just, execute, but also execute in a way that gets you a higher score, gets you better rolls, and of course in the Ultimatum mode, you'll be getting adept versions of the weapons.
Yeah, when you say adept,
Yes.
I mean, are they just adept, or do they have any special treatment, you might say?
Well, they are in fact adept in name and in functionality, but also they have the new treatment. So all of our weapons have a new visual treatment that has 9 iconography on them.
I am not gonna see the sun for weeks.
They're coming up right now.
Give me those
This is a great
weapons.
example of a sort of
Dude,
baseline
they look
drop
so
of the
clean.
epitaph that has the new visual treatment. You can see the 9 iconography on it, and you can also see
my
it's
God.
got the color palette at base for it. So all of our weapons that will drop during this event will have a new visual treatment. It'll also have the new event exclusive origin perk, which is Gravity Well. This will drop on all weapons that drop during the event, and is only available in Rite of the Nine. So it'll be exclusive.
Gimme!
to the event.
Very exciting.
And then I think
Give me them all.
We've referred to them as holofoils in the past. So as you're going in, you're doing the harder difficulty.
They look so
You're earning
cool.
these adepts. They're going to have the animated holofoil, giving that galaxy background, kind of showing I ascended the mountaintop. I actually went and earned this really dope loot, and I did it in a way where I got my god rolls.
As someone who's still brave, or rather proudly wears his brave arsenal as much as he can, I cannot wait to go ahead and dive into this. So actually as well, now that we're in explore mode checking it out, Roddy, can you tell us some of the key
My poor
differences
schedule's just gonna be
changes
Destiny 2,
you
Destiny 2, Destiny 2, Destiny 2.
Guardians?
When this comes out, oh my
Using the
god.
in-world tooltips,
At least
to
it'll get a
teach you
rest
some
from
of the mechanics.
final.
So this is something that's been used in the Nether and other places. So far, we're continuing to expand that out.
Oh my god.
So, as you are playing through Ultimatum mode, you'll see these tooltips come up, and we have them all over the place anytime a new new mechanic gets introduced.
Got it.
And it basically is a way to, in-world, see, like, okay, this is how this mechanic works. We're also using waypoints. Here's a great example of one of our teaching waypoints that sort of shows you, hey, here's where the path is supposed to go, and kind of direct you in a lot of the places where there are, not as obvious paths through the dungeon, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like those tooltips and waypoints, we're using those in the encounters to teach you the mechanics. And we do that like the first time you see it, so that later in the dungeon, when you are encountering that mechanic again, you'll have already learned it, and you can take your time and read the tooltips, execute the mechanic at your own pace. One of the things we've done is we've removed darkness phases, and we've reduced the revive timer down to 5 seconds in Explorer mode, so that there is no real penalty for failure.
Yeah.
So if you're just trying to learn the mechanics and you go in and you want to look at the tooltips and follow the waypoints at your own pace, and maybe you get overwhelmed by enemies or whatever, that's okay, right? Like you can kind of take your time.
Yeah.
I think one of the things we've seen is
newer
that
players get
a
in.
challenge with a dungeon, in addition
Seems
to the
very
mechanics and the combat
basic
challenge,
level stuff.
a lot of it is just you have to sort of learn at a fast pace, right? And so what we're trying to do
Bolt
here is
charge.
make it so you
Insert
can
Roomy's bolt
own
charge
pace,
gif.
so that once you're comfortable with these mechanics,
I
then
love
you can
that.
jump into,
Wide arrive,
mode,
bolt charge.
whatever with other players and know the mechanics because you've not been sort of pressured to execute perfectly the very first time.
Yeah.
In that first encounter, so you're connecting nodes in a circuit breaker to open the door.
Yeah.
And the waypoints are breadcrumbs, so it's like hit the first circuit and then you see a waypoint for the next in explore mode. So your ad clear aficionados, they are now learning or being given the opportunity to learn, oh, this is
we made it.
how this pathing works. This is how this mechanic works. So when you bring them in, or when I bring you in later.
So why did you stare right at me when you were talking about ad clear?
Yeah. But yeah, it's like when you bring them into the higher difficulties of the mode, then it's like, oh, hey, you remember where those waypoints were? You were able to memorize it. You have this like memory. Now you can come in and execute at a higher level. It's aspirational.
Were those always there?
Here's actually a good example of one of
It's
our
got a thing
shepherding
for you,
mechanics that
Shez.
we've introduced. So basically, we hear a lot of people say like, "Oh, I want to take my friends to the dungeon that have never been before." A lot of these traversal sections can be really challenging. So in this section of Spire of the Watcher, for example, once one player gets to sort of the midpoint of this traversal section,
Poor Gemini, but also fuck you, Seth.
so the player who's maybe struggling a little bit with that section can follow along and continue to make progress forward, even though they may not have been able to execute.
What do you mean? This was built for you. The jumping puzzles.
Guardian game is coming.
Got my jumping puzzle training wheels. Let's go.
Let's go.
As players are going through this, like we have a bunch of rewards, not just for explore mode where you're getting the normal drops and all that, but overall through this event. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, you get 5 new emblems.
Emblem for you.
There it is. Yeah, collectors
Emblems?
get ready.
Emblems.
An earnable weapon cosmetic and a hoity-toity event exclusive title that you can get from doing some challenging challenges in Ultimatum mode.
Yeah, it's going to require a lot
Some
of
challenging
participation, like we were
challenges.
talking about before the show. Like these are not ones you're going to be able to earn right away. It's going to take some time.
I sure hope they do.
Yeah, it's gonna take some blood, some sweat, some tears.
Yeah.
Maybe
Not
an
seeing
ambulance ride,
sunlight.
everybody.
In your daily playthroughs, it's like, here are my weapons.
that's already
and you have
there.
The overarching
I haven't
goal
seen
of,
sunlight in years.
Emblems for the collectors or the title, so you can show up in the tower like, I'm the dungeon keeper. We don't have the name solidified just yet. It'll come.
Should I be concerned?
So we've taken a little bit of a look at what's
Don't
here in Act
worry
3.
about it.
Dylan, I'm going to go ahead and take
It's
this chance to put you on the
fine.
spot. Starting very soon, or if not recently, Moments of Triumph are back as well.
So, I mean, we just walked through. Sorry, I just put that down. So
That was very authoritative.
we just walked through like, here's what's coming in Act 2, here's what's coming in Act 3, and then here's what's coming with Rite of the Nine later in Act 3. Right now, if you're so inclined, Moments of Triumph just started like what, an hour ago, 2 hours ago?
Yeah.
We have some cool rewards that you can earn as you're prepping up for the next acts, as you're getting ready for what's to come. Cool cosmetic ghost. There's going to be a sparrow that's going to be really fun to earn.
Nice. Actually, I think we can take a look at those really quickly as well. There we go. All right, there we go. They're up.
Perfect.
It's like a
So with Moments
samurai.
of Triumph, every year we basically celebrate the previous year of content, ask players to go back in, check out your triumphs,
ghost looks really
get
cool.
some of these things done, do some Grandmasters raids, etc.
Yeah.
And then you can earn some free cosmetics in the game.
Very cool.
On top of that, we also have our yearly Bungie Rewards t-shirt.
Yeah.
So I think I own 6 of these at this point, maybe 7, but this is the 2024. And yes, I'm going to call this out for my friend Matt. 2024, because it's the previous year, not 2025.
Yeah.
T-shirt, which is really fun. We have a sample here in the studio. Thank you again, Natalie. Very excited. This, I believe, is a large as well. Let's make sure. Yeah, large. So basically my size. I'm 6'1".
That's really cool.
I like that T-shirt. That's
you
cool.
can get your customization on the sleeve of your gamer tag or your player name.
Very nice.
And then when you're walking around in the outside world, people can see you for the nerd you are.
Yeah.
Shout out to the individual who yelled "Dead Orbit Forever" when I was walking around in my Dead Orbit T-shirt the other day.
Very nice.
But, yeah,
Dead Orbit Forever.
Moments of Triumph T-shirt. And then when you purchase any Moments of Triumph related, the T-shirt, the pins, anything like that, there's also a special emblem. It's a gift with the purchase.
I love that.
So in game, you get a little bit of swag too.
That's really cool. I always love those shirts. Because
That's a
it's
clean
like you go
emblem.
into a PAX or something, it becomes this like hidden secret
That's
language where
really
you're looking
cool.
around and see people with their different Bungie Foundation shirts on or their different Moments of Triumph shirts on, and you kind of give each other just a nod as you walk through those hallways.
Yeah, so it's like
That's
you
what I
have
love
your
about
individual
PAX.
spell,
You like
but then
you
when go
you
to
see
Rite,
your
it's like,
people.
I have
You're
my
like,
title in your
Ayo.
weapon. I got my title.
Yeah.
I got it on my war vest.
I love the Hololive cosplays.
Excellent. All right. Well, Everyone, we have had a very big show today.
So
and
cool.
so that, I think, about leads us to the conclusion is what I would say if we didn't have just one more thing to share with you. So obviously, we've touched a little bit on some of the stuff that's going on with Act 3, and we actually have a sneak preview also of a currently in development limited time PvP mode that will be joining Act 3 as well.
PvP?
I vote we go ahead and just throw it up here
Sounds
on
like,
screen. Let's take a look. Everyone, we'd love to introduce you to
Dude,
Heavy
what?
Metal.
Oh my god!
There's a opportunity for you to go ahead and take out a team of Drake tanks against a
You
team
could just
of Briggs,
pilot a
so you can
mech?
test to see, you know, whether you're good behind the barrel of a gun. Or
Oh
behind the
god,
barrel
I'm
of
gonna
a
be
Briggs.
struggling
But,
just to try and navigate around a rock, let alone trying to get rid of the enemy team.
Absolutely insane to watch.
Yeah, I'd say since day one of Beyond Light, players saw the Briggs
That
come
is
to the
so
game. They're like,
cool.
when do I
Oh
get one
my
of those?
God.
And this is the answer from
Oh my god, it looks so goofy from.
Guardians have had their Drake tanks since Destiny 2
Chicken
launched.
legs,
They're
dude.
really fun.
Oh my
Let's see
God.
when you get into matchmaking.
It's
who can come out on top.
I want one!
This is one that we're very much looking forward to unleashing upon the community, but as you can tell,
Oh my
Drake
gosh.
tanks and Briggs alike provide
just-
very
oh,
cheap
oh.
tactical opportunities that we're looking forward to seeing getting into
My
the
guy hit a
Guardians'
flip.
hands.
What?
But yeah, this one is
Do
just
a
been an
flip.
absolute development, honestly.
Yeah, and when it comes to like this is a PvP thing, we say competitive, but this is a goofy, like, this is fun. You're sitting down on a Saturday night, you're chilling with your buzzins, like, let's hop in a tank and try to do some 360 no-scopes while we, like, boost off of a ramp.
Yeah, we just finished a raid. Let's have a palate cleanser here and just have a good time.
I want to go for a movie of the week. Why don't I hop into Drake and try to get a triple kill? Like,
Chance.
yeah.
There weren't enough sick flips in that raid.
Yeah.
Out there on my Drake tank.
Just how many 360 no scopes can we get into this thing? We'll find out. Does the Drake tank have a scope? I don't think so. But yeah, that is that's something we'd be remiss if we didn't take a chance. Sorry.
That is
Obviously,
so
they just did a
cool.
huge job as well,
Oh
but,
my
we'd be
god, we
remiss
need
if
to
didn't
have
take
like
chance to shout
our
out all
friend
of you.
group,
So,
like just do
that,
a
for real this
3v3
time,
with that.
concludes our show.
Oh
So huge
my
thanks, of
gosh.
course, to Nico, Quinton,
would be
Morgan,
so
to
funny.
Nix and Rodney, and of course the one and only Mr. Dylan Gaffner there for joining us today. We
Well,
really
thank you
appreciate you
for
guys taking the time to tell us a little bit more. Sorry?
Thank you for hosting.
I'm also here, but of course, more importantly than even me is our fire team in the back of house. We've got Peyton, Ashley, and of course, my compatriot in social media, Mitch, out there helping us go ahead and do the heavy lifting behind the scenes. Thank you a ton for joining us, as always. To the crew here in house that puts on the show and has to deal with the likes of me, thank you all so much for your time. We really appreciate all of your help. And of course, we'll also, pardon me, ask you all to go ahead and stick around for just a little bit longer, because before we conclude the show, we're going to go ahead and raid Bergen's Star. So do us a huge favor, stick around for a little bit, join the raid, give them a follow, and tell them we said hello. We'd appreciate that. So today we covered a lot. We went through the activities coming with Act 2, such as Court of Blades, the continuation of the Barrow Dyad quest line, some new weapons joining the sandbox, took a bit of a look ahead at Act 3. There was a lot for this one, everyone. So of course, more than anything, we know you all are very busy. We appreciate being a part of your day, and thank you all so much for taking the time to join us today. We do appreciate it. It's always a lot of fun to get to put these on, but they don't matter unless you show up. So thank you. So in the meantime, from all of us here to all of you out there, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see y'all Starside.
Thank you, Bungie!
Thank you, Bungie.
That was cool. I can't wait to get in a brig.
The Briggs look so cool to pilot. It's been one of the things in the back of my mind ever since we did Scourge of the Past, just being able to control one of them. Like, god damn.
It's gonna be so good. But yeah, YouTube, thank you so much. Oh, that's a chest view. I don't want to give you that. Not that there's any on this character, but that's okay. Thank you for watching. I promise the next two parts of Act 1 are coming out. I am chasing those up, and they will be up shortly, hopefully in time for Act 2. That way we are up to date, because we have been a bit behind schedule for the previous couple of acts. But thank you again for your patience for watching, and thank you for those who do come by the live streams on YouTube. I'm trying to give love to all my platforms, and I will see you all in the next video.